Welcome back to 52 Lockup. I am your Apple TV Academy, a bit in Apple TV. 52 Lockup is a series I started talking about one of my biggest passions, true crime. A new episode on every Academaniac Monday for 52 Mondays, 52 Crimes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, leave some feedback, and subscribe. Of course, always, I love the commentary. I love talking with everyone. And then, of course, I know someone's going to be like, you said 52 Mondays, 52 Crimes. You always want. I haven't forgotten. Just working on it. But I do want to point out, viewer discretion is always advised. I do not go into gruesome details, but rather how ridiculous the situation is. Okay, so today we're gonna eat fresh in Atlanta, Georgia at Subway's. 26-year-old Brittany Macon, born on January 14th, 1996, along with her best friend, 24-year-old Jada Statum, they decided, we're gonna work together. They're 26, 24-year-olds, right? They want to work together, right? They're also, they decided, 4 weeks ago. So they were also roommates, and, roommates, mothers together, the kids are becoming best friends, they're best friends. They didn't know coming to Subway's to be one of the worst decisions of their lives. They sit down together and they're super excited. They fill out the applications. They're like, this is going to be great. We're going to work together. And they explain their situation. They drive all the way down to 74 Northside Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. They begin working together for like a month, and they are excited because who doesn't enjoy working with their best friend, right? These lovely ladies are enjoying their life. They're out there just enjoying it. They're like got kids together. And on top of it, they got a good boss that gives them the flexibility that they need as young mothers, right? Now, while they're doing that, Melvin Williams is building a record since 2013 with a criminal collection of burglary charges, aggravated assault, and 3 months ago, right before they started the job, he was arrested for aggravated assault and cruelty to children. Apparently, recently, he was out on bond from these charges. As a side note, in Georgia, first-degree cruelty to children is a prison sentence from 5 to 20 years due to its felony charge. Melvin Williams had apparently eaten at the Northside Drive Subway sandwich shop many times before. Never showed a problem. Always ordered his food, ate it, and then left like there was a routine. You know what I mean? So, June 26, 2022 would change the lives of Brittany Macon and Jada Statum. So we got 26, 24-year-olds right there. They're both moms. They're working. Jada, unfortunately, she can't find a babysitter, right? So she's a little stressed. But her boss, she's got a good boss. The boss is being flexible enough with her. He's like, all right, listen. Bring your 5-year-old kid in while you're working. It's fine. Your kid sits down and quiet. It's not a big deal. He knows that because these two have shown that they're model employees, he can trust them to even do that, right? So Melvin makes his way to Subway's and he orders his sandwich. Now, I'm not an avid Subway's eater, but I do go there from time to time. And it's important to understand their process because of what happened. So whenever you enter a Subway's, right, if you've never been, the employee will greet you and they'll ask the customer, how can I help you? Or what would you like to order? Then the customer looks at the menu and they're like, I want this. They pick out the sandwich that they're interested in, right? And then the employees continue with a long line of questions. It almost feels like it's never going to end, right? They start off with questions like, what kind of bread? 6 inches or foot long? Don't say that's what she said. Do you want it toasted? What kind of cheese? Is this enough meat? What dressing would you like? Do you want salt and pepper? How much mayo do you like? Is this too much? Too little mayo? Do you want oil and vinegar? What else would you like on your sandwich? Would you like olives? Do you want these peppers? You don't want these peppers. Do you want the jalapenos? I mean, every single Subway's does this. It's so routine that I personally get annoyed because when I order my sandwich, I'm like, hey, you could just pick the cheese. I really don't care which one. They just look at me like, she's lying. Because some asswipe before me probably started a fight with him over it, right? So picture Melvin at the counter ordering his sandwich, confirming everything, right? Because they ask you so many questions and you have to confirm it every single step of the way, right? So Melvin pays for his sandwich, sits down to eat, and then he bites into it and he's like, too much mayo on this, even though he confirmed it. So he decides to get up angry because Brittany is the one that made the sandwich. He gets towards her to go pick a fight with her, start arguing with her that there's too much mayo on the sandwich. Brittany, being a quick thinker, she's like, let me just remake the sandwich. Store manager in the back, he's hearing the commotion. The argument is just ensuing and ensuing. And instead of Melvin letting Brittany remake the sandwich, 36-year-old Melvin Williams will pull out a gun and shoot Brittany dead. So as those shots are ringing out, he turns to her best friend. He shoots her twice, but while she's being shot twice, she's actually pushing her 5-year-old son under the counter to protect him. As the shots are ringing in the place, right, a third worker hears a commotion. He comes out with a gun, shoots at Melvin, doesn't hit him, but shoots him. This is now turning into the Wild Wild West. You know, this isn't what Will Smith was talking about. You know what I mean? So this must be what those against gun reform and restrictions are talking about when they say add more guns to the situation, right? So by the time paramedics would arrive, 26-year-old Brittany would be dead, and Jada would be rushed to the ICU. She actually did recover from her critical condition. Over Mayo. Mayo. So her cousin would release a statement. She would say that she was a beautiful and loving, very vocal person. She would stand up for herself as well as for others. She was very caring, loved life, especially her family. She said, I really would hope that the fact that an unhinged man came into a restaurant and took a life, the mental health in the Black community needs to be addressed. It could have been anyone. She says that we, the family, would like to take this time to mourn Brittany in private. The situation is very fresh and painful. She was an intellectual, caring, and courageous. She stood out the most with her beautiful personality and stood up for her beliefs. She was dependable with a big heart. Her beautiful life was abrupted due to gun violence and the failed mental health of the society. In hopes, we hope that everyone will learn from this how precious life is and how very important proper assessment and community outreach for mental health services are needed. Mayo. Williams is charged with murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of a firearm tied to this case. He's now being held in the Fulton County Jail with no bond. So, he won't be able to do it again. So, even though they obviously have everything that they need for the most part, but if anyone has additional information on the incident, you're to contact authorities. Tipsters can remain anonymous and be eligible for rewards for up to $2,000. Who knew? Being a tipster can be profitable, right? By contacting Crime Stoppers in Atlanta at 404-577-8477. I'll repeat that for you one more time. 404-577-8477. You can text some information to 274-637 or even visit Crime Stoppers website. Yeah, that's a lot over at Mayo, right? Did you know that in a 2015 study, Bindu Kailasan, an assistant professor of epidemiology at Columbia University, found that there was a strong association between exposure to social gun culture and gun ownership. According to Kailasan's research, commented that the social gun culture includes unseen codes of behavior and powerful predictors of behavioral intentions and health behaviors. Dr. Kailasan measured exposure to social gun culture by using the following questions. Would the individual's family or social circle think less of them if they did not own a gun? Does their social life with family and friends involve activities including guns? These are some interesting questions that a doctor has. Now, it's also been stated that men who carry guns suffer from a crisis of confidence. Jennifer Carlson, author of Citizen Protectors, The Everyday Politics of Guns in an Age of Decline, explained in a recently or so, I would say, why men feel the need to carry guns in public. One man told Carlson he felt naked without his gun. Carlson found that men might carry guns in public as a reaction to broader socioeconomic decline, or because carrying a gun is seen as a masculine duty. Oh, darn it, because that toxic masculinity again keeps peeking its way around the corner. Psychologically, carrying a gun can help men address social insecurities far beyond crime. Carlson concluded by noting the gun rights platform is not just about guns. It's also about a crisis of confidence in the American dream. And this is one reason gun control efforts ignite such intense backlash. Restrictions are perceived as a personal affront to men who find in guns a sense of duty, relevance, and even dignity. Gun owners tend to be angry and impulsive, like shooting someone over Mayo. That sounds pretty impulsive to me. Could be wrong, but just throwing it out there. A June 2015 study found that 310 million firearms estimated to be in private hands in the United States are disproportionately owned by people who are prone to angry, impulsive behavior and have a potentially dangerous habit of keeping their guns close at hand. There is a co-occurrence of impulsive, angry behavior and possessing or carrying a gun among adults with and without certain mental disorders and demographic characteristics. Almost 9% of people who self-report patterns of impulsive, angry behavior also have firearms at home. This is really strange. Like, sounds like a little dangerous to give an angry person a gun, or at least allow them to like get a gun so easily. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Did you know that 1.5%, or nearly 85 people out of every 5,653 surveyed for this particular study that I was referencing to, they carry their guns in places other than their homes? The authors found that when studying violence and anger, it is more effective to look at the arrest history of individuals rather than seeing if they have a mental illness. Arrest could show a history of impulsive or angry behavior, right? So, for example, criminal records of misdemeanor violence, DWIs, and domestic violence restraining orders, right? Key things to look for, which would likely serve as a more feasible and less discriminatory indicator of an individual's gun violence risk. So, we're looking for small things, and then we're looking for like where the explosion happens, right? Because they're kind of in a sense acting like a gun, right? The minor things that are happening is like loading the gun, and then when something really horrific happens, that's when the gun finally explodes, right? Holding a gun apparently can also make you paranoid. In 2012, James Brockmole, as an associate professor of psychology at Notre Dame, found that wielding a gun increases a person's bias to see guns in hands of others. Apparently, participants holding a toy gun during an experiment were more likely than participants holding a neutral object, like a ball, to think that people on a computer screen in front of them were also holding a gun. Participants were shown images of people that changed throughout the experience. Sometimes the people in the image would be wearing a ski mask, and sometimes the computer would change the race of the people. Participants holding guns were more likely to classify objects held by others as guns, and as a result to engage in threat-induced behavior. It's probably because we're not stuffing the guns anymore, and then because you would see if someone was preparing it, which was... Anyways, did you know that the 4th of July commemorates the passage of the Declaration of Independence by the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776? That makes us 246 years old. And what better way to celebrate by covering a story like this? Well, it was either this or covering the crime of a 10-year-old girl being raped in Ohio and then having to travel to Indiana for healthcare. I couldn't pick which one would fit the time frame. Well, either way, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I wonder who they were referring to. Anyways, good night. Whoop, whoop.